After we have declared all the variables, as you can see here, starting from this type of constant here, start price, the 500, and all the other variables required for our solution. Now let's move to the next step. The next step here is to find the total of the percentage changes for the customer using table 1. As you can see from the question itself, the table 1 here, if we review table 1, we have here all the price changes for according to the input for engine size, for example, and also a percentage change of the price if the value of the car changes also, and so on. So table 1 here is like it's containing all the price changes and percentage. We have to accumulate all the percentage changes here depending on the user input. So the first thing, find the total of the percentage changes for the customer using table 1. Okay, and then applying the total percentage change to the starting price, which is $500. So we need first to get the user input. Now we have our variables ready to contain all the user inputs. Now all the user inputs will be stored inside the variables that we have declared earlier, and then after this we will multiply these inputs, I mean the percentage, by the original value, which is 500, to get the actual price. So our first task here, finding the total of the percentage changes for the customer using table 1. The first thing here, it's very important to, as I told you earlier, to prompt the user. Okay, prompting the user means like we have to show a message for him, asking him to input the engine size of a car. This is the first input, so the user will input one of these values. Okay, 0.5 or less. Okay, so between 0.5 to 1, more than 1 to 2.5, and then greater than 2.5, so the price change will be plus 10%. So the user will input the engine size. How can we keyword this? By using this word input engine size. So this is the variable that we have declared earlier. Okay, next our solution here will use one of the conditional statements. As you know that we have two conditional statements. The first one is case, okay, the other one is if condition. Okay, case, then variable, then of. Okay, so case of, and then end case at the end. And here we have a variable name, engine size, case engine size of. The first case, that it's between 0.1, because the engine cannot be less than this, cannot be, for example, 0 or something. The engine should be at least 0.1 to 0.5. What if the engine ranges between these values? So the print price changes negative 5%, although this is not a requirement, but just to show our input. Okay, and then what will happen? As you can see here, we have declared this variable at the beginning. Okay, this variable at the beginning. Let's move back. Percentage total. We declared this as integer, and it starts with 0 value. So this value, finding the total of the percentage changes. So we created a variable so it can contain all the inputs. Imagine that this type of variable is like a container. Now let's say that the user might input, for example, 0.7 as the engine size. Okay, now for the condition here that we have case between 0.1 to 0.5, is the 0.7 between this range? So no. Now this these two lines will be skipped, And then we will go for the next condition. Is that 0.7 between 0.6 and 0.1? Yes. So then the user will see this message on the screen, which is saying price change is 0% because the 0.7 is between these two values. So the price change here is 0. Now, since we have here like this variable, and this variable type is integer, so it stores all the percentage values. So now, since the value is 0.7, now what will happen? The percentage total, which is 0 at the beginning, because we declared this variable as integer and the initial value is 0. So the initial value is 0 plus according to the table here, it's 0%. And so now the percentage total is 0. Okay. For the rest of the conditions here, we created also the case between 1.1, the next value to this one. So 1.1 to 2.5. Okay. Which is greater than 1.0. Now also the same thing, it will show this message to the user and it will apply the percentage total plus 5%. Okay, and then if it's greater than 2.5, for sure that percentage total will be 10%. Otherwise, because this is the structure, case, don't forget this, case, then of, in between these two keywords we have the variable name, and then we have the different cases. Okay, and then otherwise, what will happen if the value is none of these values? So we will show an error message, or we are validating the user input, which is one of the requirements also by the pre-release material. It will say invalid value, try again, must be greater than 0. For example, the user inputs -5. -5 as engine size, it cannot be valid that the engine size in negative values. And then otherwise, print this error message and end case. As you can see here, we followed the requirements since we are showing error messages. Okay, we are following the requirements by prompting the user. Okay, we are following the requirements by the variable name. Okay, we are following the requirements also by applying the correct structure of the condition case. Okay, and now we will create something else to validate the user input, because what will happen if he inputs -1? I created here a loop, repeat loop. What is the loop? The loop is an iteration for a structure or for some lines in between these loop brackets. So repeat until, it will keep repeating until the value of engine size is greater than 0. Because if he inputs, as I told you at the beginning, that if he inputs a negative value, it will repeat again the same thing, until the value is positive. Okay, the value must be positive. So the positive value here, okay, will go through the conditions. Otherwise, it will keep repeating until the value is acceptable. Okay, we did this for the engine size. We used the case. Okay, although the solution appears to be like long, but you will apply the same concept that we applied here for the engine size. We will use case, okay, for the table 1 that appears in the question. Just a second. Okay, we will apply the same thing for the rest of the table 1, for the rest of the parameters here, and also we will apply it to the years without claim, or we can use a different data structure, which is the array. Okay, so now I will go through the second one only, and then you have to complete the rest yourself. So it's just like copying. So we'll go through again. Okay, the one who didn't understand the first part, you can understand the second part since it's the same concept. So for the value in thousands of dollars, So also we have some parameters here, which is representing the input. So the user will input one of these, and according to that, we will accumulate the percentage total. The percentage total at the beginning, the value was 0. Remember this. It was 0. So the percentage total equals 0 plus, and then let's wait for the user input. Again, we are prompting the user. Okay? Do not forget to prompt the user. Now, actually, this is like a part of VB code. We can remove this, and we use, because simply I copied this from the VB code solution. Okay, so we are like removing these words, and we will use input. Okay, rather than, so this is because this is a pseudocode, not a real code. So input value in thousands. Also, we declared this value at the beginning as a variable. Okay, and now the user will input a value between 0.5 or even from 0 till greater than 20, one of these values. So, and then also case value in thousands, the variable that we declared, value in thousands, and as you can see here, it's a meaningful name and one word without spaces, and also we use the case statement. Okay, the same thing here. Let's say the user also inputs a value as for the car price. It is like $12,000. Okay, so it will be one of these values, so between 10 and 20. So if he inputs 12, let's test the input now. Case 0.1 to 0.499, as it belongs to these values? No. So we will skip this part, and then we will go to the next condition. Is it between 0.5 and 2? Also no. Is it between 2.1 and 10? Also no. We will skip this part. Is it between 10.1 to 12? Yes. Okay, what will happen between 10.1 and 20? Okay, what will happen? For sure, the percentage change will be 10%. So what should happen here? Print price change is 10% for the value in thousands, and the previous value, now the new value will be the previous one, which was 0 plus 10%, right? According to the table, because the user inputs 12. Okay, it belongs to this part. So plus 10%, so 0 plus 10%. Now the percentage total is 10. Okay, and if it's greater than 20, then print price change is 15%, and the value should be added to the previous value, 15 added to 0, or otherwise, if the user inputs, for example, negative 30 by mistake, so it should show an error message here, invalid value, try again. And as usual, we will use repeat until value is greater than 0, because the value must be positive value. Here we are validating the user input as usual, validating, prompting the user, meaningful names for the variables, write assignment, write correct totaling here, okay, and correct loop structure. All the structure here is correct, so you will gain the full mark for this part of question. Now let's move to the next part of task 1. We're still on task 1. This is the second requirement. After we collected the percentage total, or finding the percentage total using table 1, we need to calculate the price to insure the car. How? By applying the total percentage change to the starting price of the car. What was the starting price of the car? Remember the container that we created at the beginning. Okay, it was 500. Now the 500 will be added to the percentage change. How? Okay, we created a variable which has the name, meaningful name, price to insure, because we need to calculate the price to insure. So price to insure the car as the variable name equals the start price, which was 500, and then plus the start price multiplied by the percentage total variable that in the container, if you remember, divided by 100 to have the value of the ratio, the percentage. Okay, let's say it will be plus 500 multiplied by let's say the total was 50 over 100. How to do this? The value here is 5. Okay, 5 times 5 is 25, so 0. So the value of the price to insure till now is 500 plus 250, so it's $750. Okay, in this case, if the price change, percentage change is 50%. It could be more than this, could be less than this. One of you might ask, it could be more than this. How it could be less than this? Okay, or simply how the value of negative percentage will be applied. Simply here, if we have negative values, because the engine size is less than 5.5, so the percentage will be negative 5, and here also will be negative 5, negative 5, negative 5, this is negative 20, and 0 here, so the total here will be negative 20. Okay, so negative 20 here means or minus 20, the value here will be less than 500, because if we multiplied these values by 500, the sign here will be negative. So if we try to add 500, it will be a negative value. So negative, for example, 100, so the insurance will be $400, which is less than the original value. Okay, if you noticed that we only calculated the price to insure without the years without claim. So after calculating the price to insure for this table 1, we need also to calculate the overall price after multiplying by one of these values. Okay, so for this reason, we need to proceed to the next part to the question. Okay, finding the percentage change for your for years without claim. How we will do this? Okay, I created here a case condition also. It will ask the user print to show a message for the user prompting him input years insured without an insurance claim, and then the user will input the years without claim. This is a variable. Okay, case years. Now we remember this. We are confident we can use the case condition. Case and then the variable name of case 1, if this variable no claim price change percent equals no years without claim of the array. Now let's try to explain this part. What is the logic here? The logic here is the user will input how many years that he have used the car without claim. So for example, he might input 1, he might input 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or more. Okay, he might input one of these values which is representing the number of years without claim. Let's say for example he inputs 2. Okay, the user inputs 2 here, so the 2 will be stored in years no claim. This is variable here, so the value here is 2. So 2 is stored here in this variable. Now case 1, which is representing the years no claim, if it's 1, no it's not 1 since the value is 2, so we'll skip this part. we'll go to the next part. Is the 2 applicable here? Is it ranging between 2 and 6? Yes. So this value, we will consider this value. Okay, this is a condition. So no claim price change percent, which is a variable that I created also to store the percentage related to the number of years without claim. So this value will equal to years without claim. What is this? A clever student will figure definitely what is this structure. This is an array. Excellent. This is an array. Okay, so years without claim, this is the array. And what is the value here? This is the variable. Which variable? Which variable? Years no claim. Yes, years no claim is the user input, which is 2, right? So years without claim, this is the array, and between the brackets here we have the index. If you remember the array, you definitely will know that this is an index. If not, you have to review the arrays. So the value which has the index of 2 inside the array years without claim. Let's recall back the definition here that we did at the beginning of the array, years without claim. Now let's go to the index 2. Okay, this is index 1 in pseudocode, and this is the index 2, index 3, index 4, index 5, index 6. Okay, in pseudocode it starts with 1. In a programming language like VB or Python, it starts with 0. But since now we are using the pseudocode, so the value of the index starts with 1. So now the index of 2 inside this array, which is 20. Okay, so now the percentage related to 2 years without claim, it is 20%. Okay, now this value will be stored here. So no claim price change percent. Okay, and then we will show this message, right, which is representing 20. Okay, so 20 and then percentage between the quotation marks. Now we will ignore the rest of the condition since it's not greater than 6. If it's greater than 6, so the value of the no claim price will be 70, and this is the highest price. Even if we are having 6, 7, 8, 10 years without claim, it will not exceed 70. Otherwise, print invalid input, try again. This is also error message for the user, clear error message. Okay, and also we will keep repeating this until years no claim is greater than 0. Okay, if it's not greater than 0, if it's less than 0, it will keep repeating. Okay, have we done with calculating the price? Not yet. We need to add the years without a claim, so this part needs to be finished. Okay, so now the price to insure the car will be the price, starting price, plus the start price multiplied by the percentage total. This is what we have created from the first step. Now we need to, again, to make sure that the price to insure is the price to insure. Again, let's say that we calculated that and it came to be like 750. Okay, now the price to insure will be the price to insure the car, and then sorry, here we have plus the price to insure the previous one, 750, multiplied by the value. For example, it's 20%. Okay, and it's correct, it's negative since we are using a positive value here for the percentage. So now we need to calculate these values, and at the end we will have 750 So like this over 20 will be like 1, and here 20, this will be 5. 750 divided by 5, so it will be 15, and then here 0. Okay, so 750 minus 50, it will be sorry, it will be $600. Okay, now the price to insure the car, which is the second input, is calculated by the first table, and then negative the or minus the second percentage from the second table. The third requirement in task 1, display the price to insure the car. Now we just need to display the price to insure the car by using the print or output or write. Okay, all of these are representing the same thing in pseudocode. Okay, the price to insure the car, make sure that the output message is clear, and then quotation marks, and then plus the variable that accumulates all the previous values that we did here. Okay, and this is to display the price to insure the car. And then the point number 4 in task 1 also display the total percentage change, print or output. Okay, or write the total percentage change calculated from table 1 is, and then quotation marks, do not forget the quotation marks, plus, and then the variable, and then if you want to show the percentage, plus percentage between quotation marks, and then close the brackets. This is number 4. And then point number 5 in task 1, display years without claim discount percentage from table 2. Also we will use print quotation, the years without claim discount percentage from table 2 is, and then no claim price change that we calculated at the beginning, it was 20, and then percent. Oh, okay, so this is the last point here for task 1. Okay, do not forget to subscribe and click on notification so you will later be notified whenever I upload any video. For now, wishing you all the best.